Hey, welcome back, my fellow investors. It's me, ET. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a self-taught investor who's always looking for ways to increase one's financial literacy and also net worth. And today's Let's Talk video is about just that, your net worth, our net worth. I believe that everyone should know their net worth, regardless of where you're at. That is a must know figure that every household in this country needs to know. When you start talking about growing your net worth, first of all, you need to know what your net worth is. Also know what is it. Net worth is nothing more than adding up all of your assets minus all of your liabilities equals net worth. Now, when we say assets, we're talking about things that are valuable and that you own, okay? Things such as, of course, your house. But how also your house, if you have a mortgage, and if you owe anything on that mortgage, it is an asset and also a liability. Now, I know that Robert Kiyosaki says that, hey, the house that you're living in, your primary residence, is a liability. But from a net worth aspect, it is a asset and a liability. This is what I mean by that. It's an asset because you want to know the value of your house. Now, you'll take that minus the liabilities, what you owe on it. Most people will have some type of equity in their house. That there is part of their net worth. The difference between those two is part of the net worth. So with assets, yes, you're looking at your primary residence and any other real estate that you have that is possibly going up in value or generating income or both. You're looking at all of your various type of equity accounts, whether it's a Roth 401k, anything like that there. Vehicles nowadays, if you own it outright, whatever the Kelly Blue Book value of it is, that's considered part of your net worth. Currently, under today's used car environment, you can have a car that you still have to make payments on. If the car is worth more than your payoff, then guess what? That can be considered part of your assets, of your net assets. Or you could be upside down. If that's the case, upside down, well, nothing we can do about that. Bottom line is this here. Once you do that, once you take all of your assets and you minus all of your liabilities, that's going to be your net worth. Now, when you start talking about your liabilities, we're talking about things, debt that you owe. We're not talking about expenses. Grocery bills is an expense. Gas is an expense. That's not part of your liabilities. Your utility bills is part of expenses. Your cell phone bill, expenses. So do not calculate your expenses when it comes to your liabilities. Liabilities are going to be things such as mortgage, car loans, student loans, bank loans, anything that credit card debt. That's what we're talking about. Now, once you know your net worth, it's either going to be positive net worth. That basically means your asset. You own more assets than you owe liabilities. That's a good thing. That's what you want. Or it could be a negative net worth. Don't sweat it. If it's a negative net worth, that gives you an idea what you need to do. I know the very first time I calculated my net worth back in the late 90s. First of all, I was afraid to do it because I didn't want to know. I had credit card debt and everything else. And once I finally worked up the nerve to sit down and calculate my net worth, I was surprised. I wasn't positive. I was definitely negative net worth, but not as much as I thought. And one of the things I started doing at that particular point, once I knew that actually gave me hope. Not necessarily hope. It really energized me. That's basically the best word to say. It energized me because at that particular point, now I wanted to reduce my a negative net worth, turn that negative into a positive. So that's what I started focusing on. I would calculate my net worth at the beginning of every month from the previous month. And I started to see that grow. That's the thing that's going to happen. Once you know your net worth, it will energize you to improve on that. You know, if you calculate it and your positive net worth, trust me, you're gonna want to see that build. Now, also keep this in mind when you start talking about net worth. Your net worth is going to fluctuate month to month to month. For example, last month, January 2022, my net worth actually went down. Even after all of my contributions that I submitted to my various types of investment, it went down. And the reason why is because the overall market went through a correction. And because of that correction, my net worth went down regardless of my actual contributions to that. I have no problems with that. It's going to fluctuate. The key thing is, as long as I stay positive and my long-term trend is trending in the right direction, which it is. So it's very, very important. Now, some of the reasons why you definitely want to know your net worth and also attract your net worth is, first of all, it's a measurement of your financial health. It also lets you know whether or not you are moving towards achieving some of your financial goals. Regardless of what your financial goals are, whether it's to become a millionaire, whether it's to save up enough money for a house and so forth, it's going to be reflected within your net worth. If you're just saving, let's say for a big purchase, let's say a house, if you're tracking your net worth every month, you'll know whether or not you're also on track. And one of the things, especially when you're doing something like that, you're keeping an eye on that debt. That debt has a lot of, that liabilities has a lot of consequences in your overall financial life. You know, not only for your net worth, but it also has a key factor when it comes to your credit score. Remember, your credit utilization, your credit and so forth, that's all that. If you can reduce your liabilities, your credit score actually go up. Knowing what your liabilities are, once you start working on your liabilities, it could affect your insurance rate. I mean, all of those things that people look at when it comes to your credit report is reflected under that particular section there when it comes to your net worth, and that's the liability section over there. So keep that in mind also. It lets you know what you need to do. You know, just like when I found out that I was negative and how much I was negative net worth at that particular point, had actually a couple of options there. Number one, I can work on increasing my assets. So far as buying more assets, focusing on that, or should I say, I could reduce my liabilities, which is my debt. You know, at that particular time, I focused on both, increasing my assets and reducing my liabilities. Eventually, I got to the point where, you know, my liabilities, I mean, my credit utilization, I do have credit cards, but my credit utilization, first of all, I have a hard, fast rule. The only thing I will ever pay interest on is a mortgage. Outside of that, I'm not going to pay interest on nothing. I don't pay interest on my credit cards. I have credit cards. However, I pay them off every month. I do not accumulate. It's been over a decade now since the last time I paid any type of interest on any of my credit cards or anything else like that. But once again, it all goes back to knowing what my net worth was, being energized by that, and really focusing on decreasing my liabilities. Also, you know, it gives you a sense of security, financial security. Okay, when you know that you are positive net worth and your net worth is growing and it's on an upward trend, the higher that gets, the more financial security that you have. You don't worry about money issues and things of that nature there. So it is a good indicator, like I said, of your financial health. Now, if you guys aren't tracking your net worth, I highly recommend that you do that right away. That is probably one of the first steps in really correcting any financial situation that you're in, knowing exactly what type of financial situation that you're in, and just moving forward from there. There's a lot of different ways that you can track your net worth. When I did it, and the way I still do it, is I just use an Excel spreadsheet. Do it that way. Or if you like, you can go online, you can go to Google net worth calculator. Use that to figure out what your worth is, start tracking it. I would highly recommend that you track that on a monthly basis. All right. What I do is at the beginning of every month, I mean, like that first couple of days of a new month, I'll go back and calculate my net worth from the previous month, and I keep a track of January through December. So at the end of the year, I can see I can draw what type of trend line that I have. And I'm always looking for an upward trend line. I understand that some months may be better than others, but the bottom line for a 12-month trend line, I want to see that line go up, not flat and not down. So definitely do that. I would definitely recommend that you track it, that you know it, you track it, keep it on your radar. It's gold. You'll love that you're doing it. You may not want to do it at first, just like I was kind of very, very apprehensive at first when I did mine, but once I did it, it energized me, and I believe it's going to do the same for you, because we're all creatures of habit, but also most of us have a somewhat of a competitive edge. I'm not competing against anybody else. I'm not going my net worth against your net worth. I'm competing against myself. I want to see if I can improve this. And guess what? As I start to improve my net worth, it filtered down into a lot of different other things. You know, assets went up, liabilities went down, had that peace of mind, felt secure, and my lifestyle increased along with it. You know, I still live below my means, but bottom line is, you know, my lifestyle drastically improved. You know, I like the idea that all of a sudden, if I decide to go out and splurge, I can do that and not worry about the bill. I like the idea that when I go on vacation, I can go on vacation, splurge, and not worry about it financially, not worry about it. I like the idea that, and I don't do it too often, but every now and then, you know, you may have one of those holiday seasons or Christmas where, you know, you decide to really go all out. And if I do that, I'm not worried about the bills that are coming in the next month, mainly because I'm well aware of my financial situation. I'm well aware that the impact that it has, overspending has when it comes to my net worth. And, you know, as long as you know where you stand and what you're capable of doing, I mean, it is a great feeling, that sense of security, that sense knowing that, you know, you can take care of things that may happen financially. All right, guys. With all of that said, I'm gonna stop rambling now. And if you found any value out of this whatsoever, make sure that you hit that like, subscribe, and notification buttons. And as always, guys, remember: save, invest, and apply what you know. Because knowledge by itself is not power. You know, I keep hearing that term: knowledge is power. No, it is not. It's the application of knowledge is power. Guys, I'll see you on the next Let's Talk video. Guys, take care. Bye-bye.